My live and my live. Kate. I'm gonna let everybody. Pasta and Steve kept me glued to my computer. The stream was insanely loaded with info. Yes, I watched this morning. It was a great show. Good morning, Trailer Park Pundits. Are you out there? I'm gonna give it a second to prime. I'm like probably a good minute behind, so it takes me a second to start seeing my chatters coming in. Good morning. I bring up, like, I know that AM Wake Up just went off the air, I think, so I'm giving it a second, guys. Hang tight. Let me check, make sure what's going on over there. Oh no, they're still on the air. That's okay. We'll get started. So welcome. I'm Shanda Masta, the Trailer Park Pundit. Tuesday morning. Welcome. Let's see, intro slide. Let's do this. How about that? And then that. There we go. Yay. Welcome. I still don't see my chat moving yet, so I'm going to give it a minute or two. I like to have the chat actually moving. Barbara! Hello, Barbara. I see you, Barbara. Thank you. Thank you for commenting, so I know I'm not alone. I see it's Cold Fusion Gaming's hanging out too. Aren't you up kind of early? Aspen Fallen, yay, I made it to live. Yay, you made it. Yay. Okay, so now we actually have some peeps in here. We can actually get started. How's your guys' week been? That was a crazy start to this week. Yesterday definitely felt like a Monday, right? Monday. Fair use. Everything I talk about, the clips I bring are fair use. I'm not trying to tread on anybody else's material or content. I'm just merely talking about their content most of the time. So fair use, that only works so well with the YouTube, but I am learning how to get around more things. I mean, if you tweak something, then you make it original, then fair use, they really can't get you. And then it really depends on who you're bringing too. Don't try to bring the BBC. The BBC will beat your ass down. And we've seen that in the streets in the last day, right? So yeah, there's so many that will come after you even if you change it. So fair use. Welcome to the trailer park. This is my PayPal. I can't say how much I appreciate everybody and your support. I have a hands off of Assange update we'll talk about towards the end of the show. We are booked for part of the trip so far. Basically, Amber and I are going to do a 36-hour endurance run across the country from Seattle to DC and back. And yeah, it's going to be crazy, and we're going to bring you guys along. I'm gearing up so that way I can be on the streets as soon as we land in DC at 7 a.m. and bring you guys all the highlights, infos, interviews. There's so many people that are confirmed that I can't wait to have a conversation with. I think, I don't really fangirl out on anybody, but I got to say, Chris Hedges and Cornell West, I might fangirl out just a little bit. And when I mean fangirl out, I just get like quiet. I'm not worthy. I do the whole I'm not worthy, But I really would love to have a conversation with Chris, because I think Chris, he reaches for an audience that most academics don't. And that is the poor, uneducated people, right? And I think that he does an amazing job. He's always talking about how he's in the prisons, and I think it makes him understand better the plight of the working poor in America. And that's just why I love him so much. So yeah, I don't agree with Chris on everything. I really did not agree with him on the mandates or, some of this falling in line for some of the bigger colleges, Reuters and those type of things. If you were just over at AM Wake Up listening, they were talking about Rhodes Scholars over there and how much of a bullshit show that is, and how they're preordained, they're picked with an agenda to sell, empire down your throat. We know who the Rhodes Scholars are. And actually, I think I might have a few in the deck. That's just purely coincidence. What else did they talk about over on AM Wake Up? They had Whitney Webb and Ryan Christian. So if you missed that show this morning, AM Wake Up over on the Rockfin, ROKFIN. And hopefully this week I will be bringing my show, Trailer Park Pundit, live to Roar Media on Rockfin. So that's what I'm maybe working on this afternoon. But if you want to help out, PayPal, thank you so much. We also have our Beauty and the Boomer Patreon. You can go to Patreon and it's /Beauty and the Boomer. Our big boomers, they get their own credit card at the end of the scroll on Saturday night. So we make you up a nice little card, and you know, we always close with music. So you would be in the credit roll if you become one of our Patreons. We appreciate our Patreons, and the 8 of you out there that have been diehard with us for so long. We can't thank you guys enough. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for all your support, and it's you guys that propel us and keep us going, right? Because it sure in the hell ain't YouTube. Let's see. My number one meme of the week is watching Grease as a kid and thinking you grew up to be like Sandy, and now you realize you're Rizzo. I always wanted Rizzo more than Sandy because she was a bad girl, right? I always grew up with kind of that bad girl attitude. AM Wake Up woke me up. Yes, Jilly, weren't they insane this morning? I mean, I was getting dressed and writing the show. I was coming in and out of the room, but yeah, it was a good show. I'm going to have to go back and catch that last interview because when they were talking about the Rhodes Scholars, I was really interested in that. How's my sound out there, guys? Tell me if I got any sound issues before I get too deep into this show. DC, where's DC? DC's my sound tech. Oh, and you know what? I wanted to get logged in. Am I logged in? Sign into chat. Give me a second. I want to see if I can sign into my chat over here so I can talk with you guys. Okay, am I signed in now? No, it just says sign in. It just keeps looping me. It goes open in web browser and then it goes sign in. So, well, that sucks. Okay. Anywho, let's move on. Do you guys see this? So here's a new picture. This was just taken like in the last 2 to 3 days. Shouldn't the president of the United States be front and center? Well, absolutely. He thinks he is, right? Commander-in-chief. Who's the commander-in-chief, right? We know that. See if I can get caught up over here. I at least have my chat over here, so I can talk to you guys over here. Okay. What do you guys think of this? We all know who's barking the orders and who's taking the orders. And yeah, this is pretty appropriate. I think that this another Freudian slip from the White House. And here you go. Alex Jones trial is live. Yes, Jilly, I saw that. And I'm going to try to catch up with it after I go off the air, see what's going on and keep you guys updated. Because you guys know how I feel about Jones. I think that Jones gets duped by the deep state a lot, right? Because he has a lot of friends on the inside. But he's been correct on a lot of things. And it's not so much Alex Jones that I commend. It's his researches. And I know quite a few of them that have worked for him over the years. We're talking TrueStream, Melissa and Aaron. They do an amazing job. They've done an amazing job on research. Luke Wadowski, of course, Jason Burmis. These are all names that have worked with Jones at one time, and their information is who I go to. I mean, their information is pretty dead on. So yeah, I mean, Jones F's up a lot, but Jones has also said a lot of things that are true. So, and we know what this means when they're going after journalists the way they are. It means shut the fuck up, right? And that's what they want us to do. And they're trying to scare all of us into, hey, if you say something, even if it's speculation, we could come after you. And I think they're really trying to teach that lessons via Alex Jones. Someone asked me if I had plans for the fall. It took me a moment to realize they meant autumn and not the collapse of, civilization. I thought that was cute because, yeah, right? What are your plans for the fall? Just to make it, right, through this dark winter that we know is coming. I went to the grocery store a couple of times this last weekend, and I was shocked at the amount of things that already are not on the shelves, and it's a prelude to what's coming. We thought we had shortages during COVID. I think we're going to see worse shortages this time around, and they're going to blame it on, Ukraine, energy prices. But we know what they've been doing for the last couple of years. We know the squeeze they're putting on us. How's the chat doing in there? Hey, Dingo, I'm going to shout out my chat now that some of you are hanging out. We got Becca C. Hey, Becca. Becca, I see you. Jilly Love. Jilly, I got some stuff on the deck from Jilly. Jilly, if you guys don't know it, Jilly Love is an amazing mod. She's in all of our brothers and sisters chats, modding all day, and she's dropping links and checking this out. I mean, I get a lot of good story leads from Jilly. Thank you, Jilly. Kate's going to hang out and listen. Aw, thank you, Kate. I'm in the credit roll. Yes, Kate, you are in the credit roll. Good volume. Aspen Fallen. Thank you, Aspen. I so appreciate you. And I know you're so welcome here. I'm so happy to see new people coming in, liking what we're saying, liking what we're doing. If you don't just watch me, be sure to watch Beauty and the Boomer on Saturday nights with my bestie, Oz the Boomer. It's kind of a weird little relationship, right? I mean, we're best friends, and I'm a Gen Xer. He's a boomer. We just kind of sit and talk about what we see, and it seems to work. You know, I think people. I go crazy if I don't have my outlet. Yeah, it's an outlet. Oz is my outlet. Like, if I'm having a bad day or something's going wrong, I definitely just want to cry on my Oz's shoulders. Thanks, Shanda. You're the best. No, Jilly, you are the best. And girl, you are amazingly fast, man. Some of those chats I'm in, you're just shooting down trolls left and right so fast I can't even catch up with you. Let's see. Let's move on. What do we got? GOP. Let me see what this says. I leave notes for myself on the bottoms of these, but I can't see it when I'm in presentation mode. So, will the Dems hold their seats like they think? Okay. So the Dems, if you've seen this, great show, okie dokie boomer, thanks. So if you haven't seen, the Dems are damn convinced that they are going to hold the Senate. I think they're kind of admitting that they're going to lose the House, but they are definitely like, oh, we're not losing the Senate. We're not losing the Senate. So let's watch this little bit of breakdown about the seats and what, Nate is saying about it and what is possibly the reality.
Folks, so here we are on the Battle for the Senate 2022 page. You take a look at both sides, and you got 46 Democrats, 46 Republicans. These are relatively safe seats on each side, or just not up for election seats. And of course, what really matters here are the 8 toss-up elections right in the middle. These races right over here are going to dictate whatever direction the Senate goes in. If Democrats manage to win 50%, if they win 4 out of these 8 toss-up races, then nothing changes and they have maintained their slim majority, with Vice President Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote. And if you're paying attention to 538, Nate Plastic's 538, and paying attention to what the Democrats are saying on various different social media platforms, well, Nate Plastic states that Democrats have an 80% chance of retaining the Senate. And Democrats are, of course, mirroring that same sentiment. And if you just take a look at the polling data and take it at surface value, to a certain extent, you could see where they're coming from. Nearly every single race as we click through has Democrats winning. Arizona Masters versus Kelly, Mark Kelly is leading by 5 points on average. In the New Hampshire Senate election, Maggie Hassan is leading by 4 points. There's basically a statistical tie in North Carolina between Ted Budd and Cherry Beasley. In Nevada, Cortez Masto is supposedly winning by 2 points. In Pennsylvania, communist John Fetterman is supposedly winning by nearly 7 points at 6.5%. In Wisconsin, Ron Johnson is losing to communist Mandela Barnes by supposedly 4.3 points. And so just based on the data right over here, if you take it face value, Democrats are poised to win 6 out of 8 toss-up races, Senate majority gaining 2 seats in the 2022 election. But then why is it, and of course the Democrats' horror, that the Real Clear Politics Battle for the Senate RCP projection, based on the exact numbers that I just showed you guys from their own website, from their own polling averages, is now projecting a net gain of GOP plus 2 Republicans leading with 52 seats in the Senate after all is said and done.
Yeah, okay, so he's calling Nate Silver Nate Plastic or something like that. That's funny. And then he calls, of course, every Democrat communist. And that drives me crazy about the Republicans. They wouldn't know a fucking communist if one came up and punched him in the fucking face. But we all know that. Anyways, that wasn't the point. The point was Democrats think that they're going to hold the Senate. When you've got so many races within a few points, I mean, 4 points, we know what the exit polls have looked like over the last 8 years, you know, and we know how the Dems can get their little fingers into some of these races and, you know, do their fancy footwork to hold on to some of these seats. But here's the thing. some of these seats have been occupied since the frickin' 60s by Democrats. So if the red wave does come and sweep them out, it's going to be shocking. I mean, we always think that the Dems can't be shocked by the fact that they're losing, and they never are. I've sat through so many Dem meetings where they are just oblivious to how bad they suck and how much everybody hates them, and they buy, you know, these stories that come out from, you know, the Daily Beast and all of these others that are just shit-lib publications that support their mental delusion. So it'll be interesting. Do you think they're going to hold the Senate? That's what I want to know from you guys. You know, are they going to? Is there going to be a red sweep, or is election integrity going to have a lot more to do with this? Fred Edwards, you made it! Yay! I saw you hanging out over at AM Wake Up. They had a great show this morning. Let's see. I saw something in here. I wanted to Julie talk to Oz lately. Oh, Oz, yes. I don't know if Oz is hanging out. If he is, hi, buddy. I know Oz has been really sick lately, guys. You know, he talks about it a little bit with the few shows that we've done. But yeah, we're just trying to get him back up to par health-wise. And I miss Oz, right? We miss him when we're not pumping out these shows. Like, we won't do a B&B shorts tonight, which I know you guys love B&B shorts. For some reason, it gets better viewership than our Saturday show. But yeah, we're not going to do one tonight. I'll just keep pumping out shows, and hopefully we can get Oz healthier and start doing more shows. Let me know in the chat if you guys think the Democrats are going to hold the Senate. Are they going to hold the Senate? Maybe.
Folks, so here we are on the...
Oh, come on. I don't know why it does that. Oh, do you guys hear? We beat Big Pharma. We beat Big Pharma. Biden beat Big Pharma. Yeah, he beat them all right, didn't he? Beat them to the bank. So let's listen to what Russell Brand has to say about beating back Big Pharma.
Signed into law a historic Inflation Reduction Act. It wasn't easy.
Do you see they've nicked Donald Trump's technique of having the crowd? That's the first time I've seen that. That's Donald Trump's idea, isn't it? Get the crowd behind me. People can see that I'm very popular. They're doing that now.
Take on big drug companies, but we did. I've been fighting them since I got in Congress 180 years ago.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
That's
because
no
you
lie.
are old. Well done in remembering the number 180. Let's see if you can remember the pledge that you made and how it contrasts with the regulation that's being introduced.
You know, we pay more for prescription drugs in the United States of America than any major country in the world.
Do you ever stop to pause to think, why is he boasting that the president and the government have the ability to regulate Big Pharma? Because you should be able to do that, shouldn't you? I mean, if you're the president of a country that you've been elected to represent, then that's just normal, isn't it? It's not a big deal. It's like wanting a pat on the back for not kicking your baby out the window.
Here in the United States, okay? There's no reason for it.
Well, there is a reason for it. The reason is this. The pharmaceutical industry funds the Democratic and the Republican Party. That's the reason for it. Why is this happening? I don't know. It gives a bit more money, will you, Pfizer? Oh, brilliant. Thanks for that. Yeah, it just keeps happening. Oh, thanks for that, Moderna. Why do we keep not regulating Big Pharma? Oh, thank you very much for that. It's obvious why they do it. Let's just give you a few details before we proceed. In November 2020, Biden said, I'm going to lower prescription drugs by 60%, and that's the truth. The proposal to lower drug prices had support from 90% of registered voters in their districts, according to a recent poll by Data for Progress. A government analysis found that the pharmaceutical industry should emerge mostly unscathed from the Build Back Better bill. The cost to the industry would be minimal. So their own researchers and their own analysis concludes that the pharmaceutical industry will be unscathed. What that suggests to me is that they'll nominate a few drugs to symbolically regulate while the profits are spread across the industry and new tax breaks are offered to them to alleviate any losses that will be caused by this new legislation. I don't know that for a fact. I've just been alive for a while and I've noticed that government seems to cooperate with big business. Also, this bill doesn't affect any new drugs that are introduced. So, for example, if some new, I don't know, off the top of my head, vaccine was introduced, that wouldn't be affected. If you're introducing a law, why don't you introduce a law that does its job? See me, if I hear we are going to reduce drug prices by 60%, that means for me that if I'm paying $10 for something on Monday, on Tuesday, I want to pay $4 for it. I want it to be 60% less money. Anything less than that is a lie and probably just a piece of propaganda to distract us from the fact that really they're doing nothing that will impede the interests of the powerful. I need to see real change in order for me to adapt my default position. What the government do is they serve the interests of the powerful, they extract public money, give it to private interests, and if ever there's a sort of a rising tension because people are so pissed off and furious, for example, by the pandemic, war, cost of living crisis, they'll think of some little tiny pipsqueak measures to dial
it back. I don't know why the slide deck's been cut and short. I guess I got to go a little longer. So there was many points in that, yeah, we agree with. I mean, come on, Biden. He said it many times out on the campaign trail. I'm going to lower prescription drug prices. Remember, that was whole Bernie's bowing down like, oh, but he's going to take on these battles that we've been fighting about, you know, the average older American who is screaming for insurance, and then once you get insurance, you've got all these co-pays and on these meds. It's absolutely robbery what they're doing. You know, my partner's a diabetic. The amount of meds that he has to take a daily, we're looking at thousands and thousands of dollars every month if we had to pay out of pocket. The thing, I would say thank God he had a heart attack and now he qualifies for Medicare, but no, not thank God. It was a direct result of not being able to afford meds that he did have that heart attack. And I mean, people all across the country, so many different ailments, these drugs, and we know that they introduce new drugs like heart drugs, right? We're going to see a bunch of new heart drugs. We already know that. We've reported on that quite a few times. And yeah, they're just going to be outrageously priced, and Biden's freaking delusional. And yes, I see that, Jilly. Bernie takes big pharma money. Boy, he sure turned out to be a disappointment with do as I say, not as I do rhetoric that we've seen from a lot of the progressives. Biden, what a joke he is. But he actually thinks that he beat back big pharma. That's the worst part of it all, is the way he thinks that he's actually doing something. They live in those little bubbles. We always talk about it, you know. Hillary lives in her bubble, Biden lives in his bubble, and they're just absolutely oblivious to how their policies and their decisions are hurting the everyday working poor of this damn country. So yeah, just keep kicking us while we're down. Exactly. Crack, crime bill, private prisons, 9/11. Yes, Julie. Yes, that's Biden wrapped up all for you, right? Let's see if I can get past this. No, stop. Okay. So let's talk about the weather. Where's the weather where you guys are? How is the weather? I live in the Pacific Northwest. This has been a very weird year. Very cold. We didn't get a lot of heat till almost the end of July, beginning of August. I was out yesterday and I noticed that the blackberries are tiny, and a lot of them aren't even ripe. I mean, these are the smallest blackberries I've ever seen in my life. It's definitely, contingent on the weather. Fortunately, we've just been dry. We're very dry in the Olympic Mountains. But if you go down the Western Seaboard, oh my gosh, have you guys seen California's had extreme heat, right? We've been talking about the rolling blackouts, and yeah, buy a rechargeable car and then not be able to recharge it. But the rain, we saw rain coming in this week with flash floods, and I brought you a couple of videos just to kind of show you. So let's start out with the heat, and then we'll go look at the flash floods and the waterfalls in Death Valley. Yes, I said waterfalls in Death Valley.
As we reported, California is still struggling to deal with record heat, and the state's electrical grid operator warned that rising demand could even lead to outages tonight.
But to California now, where the state is going from one weather extreme to another, including a historic heat wave.
The heat is particularly challenging right now, but the drought and the high temperatures could be putting California at higher risk for flooding and other complications from superstorms down the line. A recent study suggests the Golden State must also prepare for a large flood event.
So for the Bay Area, I think we've been kind of living through some of these changes with the more frequent droughts, drier and hotter spring to fall periods. We've been noticing the longer fire seasons. But at the same time, even with persistent drought, high impact fewer storms. This was a storm that set a record for atmospheric water vapor.
The California heat wave is stretching into its 8th straight day. Multiple wildfires are burning across California as firefighters battle the flames along with the brutal heat.
Now more on that record-breaking temperatures today in Long Beach, where it hit 108 degrees by the ocean.
In the Southern California mountains, another wildfire exploded in size.
And then look at this scene on social media. Wind and rain pummeling this backyard patio and pool. All of it catching people off guard this Labor Day weekend.
Salt Lake City and Fresno, California had their hottest September days ever. The brutal heat is straining California's power grid, and power companies are pleading with the public to conserve energy.
Droughts becoming more persistent, as those climate change models were suggesting would happen, ongoing across California with increasing drought frequency and intensity. The historical context of what we can see in a high impact event versus one now in a climate change present and future. We have an increase in atmospheric moisture, which powers up higher rain rates and higher snow levels.
Higher snow levels. So did you see those? I mean, that's out there like in the middle of nowhere, kind of, that last graph that they showed. Wow. Salt Lake City, that is hot. You know, I've lived in Salt Lake on and off my whole entire life. And yeah, it gets warm in Salt Lake, especially at the end of August, the beginning of September. But nothing like that. That is just straight insanity. And, you know, I've been reporting on the water situation at the Great Salt Lake and how it's drying up and causing all kinds of problems, not just the arsenic that's going to be flying into everybody's lungs, but this just progresses it along even faster, this type of, you know, insane heat droughts that we're seeing. But, you know, climate change, right? It's climate change, not intentional at all. I've been doing a lot of research on the Colorado River situation, right? We've talked about Lake Mead many times in the last couple of months, and Lake Powell, and where those water sources come from and how they're being managed seems to be a big problem. You know, from the research I've done, I don't think, I mean, our water situation wouldn't be as dire if we were not managing the water the way that we are allowing these organizations, these states, to handle the water. And we all know what they do with it, right? They sell it off to corporations. We know California's water has been ciphered off for years now. So let's look at Death Valley. If you guys, a couple of weeks ago, I brought a video of Death Valley after major flash floods and how the roads, the main roads through the park of Death Valley, through the national park, were washed out, and they were pretty impossible to even pass. And there really wasn't a lot of information on it. Travelers weren't aware that the park was in that bad a shape, and they were kind of, you know, tourists were getting stranded out there. It was pretty crazy to see. Well, let's look at this video from this week. I think it was 2 days ago in Death Valley, and you'll see why that's happening.
All right, well, check out this amazing video from Death Valley. It shows a temporary waterfall. This is just south of the Natural Bridge yesterday afternoon. Now, the flooding across Badwater Road was concentrated from Natural Bridge to Badwater Basin because of the flooding, and Badwater Road is completely closed for cleaning.
Badwater. So Badwater Road is apparently closed for cleaning. They're going to try to get that dirt off the roadway. You know, there's a YouTube channel out there. I want to say it's, the guy bought a ghost town in Death Valley, and there's a bunch of mines, and there's a few people that live in this little town, and it's really interesting. And so I always wonder about him and those few folks that live out there, how they're managing all of these flash floods that they're getting. So you might want to check that channel out. I want to say it's I Bought a Ghost Town, or it's something Ghost Town, and I just find it interesting. The stuff I watch is sometimes crazy, but very interesting. That's just to see Death Valley have waterfalls like that really puts it in perspective where we are, don't you think? All the metals in the air with HAARP, protect your watersheds. We need to privatize our resources. Yes, I absolutely agree, Jilly. You know, they sold HARP off, right? I think the University of Alaska now owns HARP, and if you don't know what HARP is, there's plenty of videos out there. You know, that's one of those crazy conspiracy theories where if you think that we have the ability to control the weather, that you're a crazy fucking conspiracy theorist, and we all know better. I keep hearing about these people living in Death Valley. When I looked in social, I didn't even know you could live there. Right. So have any of you heard of the Salton Sea? I'm very obsessed with people. It's kind of the last frontier in America where there isn't a lot of law enforcement, and a lot of homeless are now moving out to the Salton Sea. And slab camp, they call it slab camp, I believe. We have a slab camp here too, but basically all the infrastructure from, you know, the military being out there for so many years, where the Salton Sea was. If you don't know what the Salton Sea, it's a man-made lake that has died, much like the Great Salt Lake, because of the amount of runoff and, you know, from agriculture, and it's killed the sea anyways. It's toxic, it's nasty, there's no water out there, you're in the middle of the desert, and a lot of Americans, homeless, are making their way out there to live on their own. Basically, you just find a spot, you homestead it, and there's a lot of interesting interviews, videos, channels that are dedicated to that. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. I find it very interesting. It's kind of this bohemian type of lifestyle out there, and yeah, they tend to live truly free, but there's a lot of problems that come with that, right? The type of people that are coming out there, the things that they're involved in, the drugs that are out there. But I could understand the pull to want to go just be off the grid, because I've lived off the grid. I was off the grid from like 2009 to 2013, almost 2013. And when I say off the grid, I mean, if a government agency was trying to track me down, or law enforcement, they would have had a little bit of they couldn't have just typed in my name and found my driver's license and found my address. I mean, I didn't have any of those things. I didn't have the normal phone and power bill, and you know, I was pretty much living out of my car. So, well, I still had a car. And so, yeah, so I know what it's like. I mean, it makes you feel better to know that you're off the grid, right? It's a freeing experience. But then smartphones came along and put us all back on. You know, that's the whole reason I ended up coming back on the grid, is because I wanted a smartphone, and here we are now. I'm on YouTube. So definitely check out Salton Sea and Death Valley, because yeah, there's a lot of people living out that way. I've never been to the Salton Sea, Kate, and I want to go because here's the thing: there's cobalt under the Salton Sea. There's a bunch of finite resources that they say they're going to start mining out there, and that's why they let the sea die and dry up, is because some corporation wants to go in and make money. So check that out too. I would love to go out there, and you know, I think I would have fun hanging out with some of the people that live there. See what's up next. Something strange is Denver. Did you see this? Denver's giving out bug out bags. If you're in Denver, make sure you sign up for your free government issued bug out bag. Yeah, let's talk about this. Let's watch this real fast.
Quote, Denver Ready gives free bug out bags away as part of National Preparedness Month by Nick Willis. An event being held from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday aims to get people ready to respond to emergencies as part of National Preparedness Month. The Denver Office of Emergency Management is hosting 2 events during September as part of a nationwide campaign that will provide free emergency bug-out bags to anyone in attendance. Those events fall under the Denver Ready Preparedness Program, which is part of the National Preparedness Month movement, the theme of which is protecting your legacy. The life you've built is worth protecting. The Denver Office of Emergency Management's events for September 10th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then September 24th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can register ahead of the September 24th event to ensure that you get your bag, as supplies are limited. So they had 2 events, one on September 10th and the other is on September 24th. Now here's the thing that I find extremely interesting about the date September 24th. There is this strange connection to this exact date, September 24th, 2022, and a warning given out by the government of Germany. Here, let me play the clip. It's in German, so I'll translate it for you.
Herren, liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen.
Dear colleagues, this 24th of September 2022 will be a day that remains in our memories, as a day we will say, I remember exactly where I was. So this strange warning is given out in the German government telling people September 24th is going to be a very big day and you will remember exactly where you were. Sort of like 9/11, right? What are the odds that it coincides with this exact date that they're giving out free bug out bags?
Okay, so there's a couple of things. They were giving out the bug out bags in Denver. The 24th, apparently, they have an event. You can go get them. I saw what was in the bags. They're just a red backpack, and they got a flashlight, some batteries, some first aid kits that they made themselves in like little Ziploc bags, some matches, you know, the common stuff that you have in a bug out bag. I've had a bug out bag ready since 2009, 2008, ready to go. I got as much medical supplies as I can gather up. I replenish them because that's my thing. I end up using everything in my bug out bag and then I never replenish it, right? So this actually reminded me, I should probably replenish my bug out bag. I live in a tsunami zone, which I'm pretty sure that's how we'll go out. I'm literally sitting on the fault waiting for the big one. And hey, Beauty and the Boomer, I see you hanging out. Shout out to Oz, who made it to the chat. And yeah, so they say something big is going to happen on September 24th. Now, we've heard this multiple times on different things, right? There's always people forecasting crazy stuff out there. And you have the bugs in the bag. Good. Get your bugs. And so will something happen? I guess we're going to be on September 24th watch just to see what the hell the Germans are talking about. I don't know. I hadn't heard anything more than this, but I found it kind of ominous and a little bit creepy that they're saying that at the same time that they're telling us to get our bug out bags ready. You know, we've seen these public service announcements in New York telling you, you know, in case of a nuclear attack, you know, get in your house, shut the doors. Yeah, because that's really going to save your ass. But the warnings that we're getting from the corporate elites is a little creepy. What else did and did you love how the life you built is worth protecting? What the hell is that? The life you've built is worth protecting. No, I just thought I'd roll over and die. Like, really? They got to tell you to protect your own life? That's what it's come down to, folks. That's what it's come down to. Let's see.
Quote.
Did I go too far? Let's see. No, I don't think so. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay. Is this where I'm at? This is where I'm at. You know, I had 2 Jimmy clips, but I had to cut one of them because did you watch that Tim Canova interview? Now, I have been a huge supporter of Tim Canova since 2016. You know, we swung right into supporting his campaign and campaign as much as we could. I didn't personally go to Florida, but I had many friends who went and campaigned on the ground for him. And we know all the fuddy-duddy crap that Wasserman Schultz pulled in 2016. It even led to the head of elections being forced to resign in Broward County, right? And then he ran again the next 2 years later and the same crap. And I would have brought it, but it was really long. Like, it was like 4 or 5 minute clip, but he really goes into some of the games that they were playing down there. And if you haven't researched it, look into it, because what they did to Tim Canova in Broward County in Florida 2016 and 2018 is exactly the problem we're having across the damn country, whether we want to talk about it or admit it. So is running a joke? Let me see, what's the notes? Dems care so much about climate change. Okay, so this is Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin seems to run the Dems, right? So the progressives cow down and bow down to Joe Manchin on everything. And none of us actually know why they would do that. So now we have this climate bill coming, right? And they need that pipeline coming through West Virginia because Joe Manchin stands to make some money on it. And, you know, he's got donors that he's promised. So let's check out what they're going to do.
Senate Democrats bullish on permitting reform despite odds. Lawmakers are working toward an end-of-the-month spending deadline. So at the end of this month, they have to have a bill that keeps the government open. And if they don't, the government closes. So that's called a must-pass bill. Why do I tell you this? Because Joe Manchin is now going to have a bill written for his donors in the oil industry, gas and oil industry.
Shocking.
And they're going to attach it to a government funding bill. You see? So watch this. Democrats are grappling with how long a spending continuing resolution should run, and whether they'll have enough support to attach the environmental permitting measure. That's the thing that he wants. The environmental permitting measure, Senate Energy and Natural Resource Chair Joe Manchin is negotiating with party leaders. They promised the party leaders. They promised Manchin to pass a bill by the end of the, as if he's the fucking president.
You do not break a promise to Joe Manchin.
They promised Manchin to pass a bill by the end of the fiscal year in exchange for him supporting the Inflation Reduction Act.
So didn't he get enough stuff in the act itself? They had to...
Right?
But
they got to give him another one. The deal, which was blessed by the White House,
of course,
could deliver speedier approval for Equitron's midstream corporations. So there's this pipeline, it's called Mountain Valley Gas Pipeline, that's going to cross the state of West Virginia. That's Manchin's home state. And this bill is going to allow this pipeline to be completed. And so that's why Manchin wants this, and they're going to give it to him. But guess what? Biden also wants it. Don't think he doesn't. The deal also may expedite approvals for new clean energy projects spurred by the climate. So they're saying, oh, well, this will also help clean energy.
It may.
Yeah, may. That's what they're saying. Because sometimes you want to put up a windmill and you don't want to wait around for all the regulations. So this will help us get windmills up. Of course, this is what it's about this.
Yeah.
The Mountain Valley Pipeline alone would lead to this. I mean, we just had someone touting the climate change policies of the Democrats.
And am I wrong to yell at Ben? That's what I say when I look at this.
Come on. The Mountain Valley Pipeline alone would lead to an annual emissions equivalent to over 89 million metric tons of carbon dioxide. And what I wish I would have said when we were talking with Ben is the Democrats and the Republicans are both driving towards off a cliff. The Democrats are driving 5 miles an hour slower.
I agree, Jimmy. I agree. We're both going to hell in a handbasket no matter what we do. You know, poor West Virginia with the strip mining and what they have done there. I just can't even imagine. You know, and I'm sure that the people there want to see a pipeline come through just for jobs, right? You know, we saw a lot of pushback from the pipelines that got shut down, Keystone and, you know, the other ones, because people were looking forward to jobs in those regions where they're suffering. And this is much like Big Pharma and the vaccines, where they just clear the road. You don't need permits. We don't need all this bureaucratic red tape. Let's just hurry up and jump ahead, right? And that's what they're doing here too. You know, like, oh well, we can put windmills up, but we don't have to do the whole permitting. Yeah, you don't want permits because then they get called out by our pretend EPA. They get called out by these pretend environmental agencies of the government, and yeah, just more of the progressives just doing what we asked them to do when we got them elected. Let's see. I want to check on my chat for a second. I saw a couple of comments come through. Jill Hetty, what's a bug out bag? I'm from Indiana and I'm totally lost. Bug out bag. If you live in a region that is prone for earthquakes, floods, any kind of, disaster that you would have to flee your home, a bug out bag is a bag that you have packed and ready to go somewhere. It doesn't even have necessarily be in your house. It could be in your car, or maybe at a place that you're going to evacuate to, and you put supplies in there, Band-Aids, important medicines that you're going to need, maybe a radio, a way to get communications. Basically, a bug out bag is all you're going to have if everything goes to shit and you're running. So we've been in the Northwest, we've been, hit with the bug out bag propaganda for years now, be ready to go at a moment's notice. And because I live in a highly volatile region that is going to turn into micro islands because of liquid facts, basically the ground liquefies in a major earthquake where I live. And so we will be little islands, and it's going to be hard to evacuate where I live if something bad happens. So bug out bag. I don't think it's a bad idea with, the world we live in currently. So yeah, I say get a bug out bag together. You don't have to go get a free one from the government. You can make your own like I did. Let me see. I'm just trying to check in the chat. Oz is in there. Malicious Manners, welcome. We need oil though, because green energy is not far along enough to be used, specifically solar and wind. I agree. As a poor person, for the last 10 years, I've been screaming Green New Deal, Green New Deal. And when I say Green New Deal, I don't mean this watered down, corrupt bullshit that the Dems have been selling as the Green New Deal. I'm talking about an actual Green Party Green New Deal, where some of these things would actually affect our environment and not just the poor people. As I get further into politics after, so many years now, I understand some of the things that I was crying for and pushing for actually hurt me. The poor are the ones that will be paying penalties on carbon, taxes. And I see some of the proposals on, like no smart cars only smart cars after 2035. They're going to, outlaw gas cars. When you're poor, you're lucky to keep your gas car running, let alone come up with the money to go buy a smart car that you couldn't afford to charge anyways because your power bill is already outrageous. And basically, now just much like Medicare for all, I got my heels in the dirt going, whoa, can we back up for a second and can we talk about this? Because just because I want these things, I don't want it to hurt the most vulnerable in our communities, and that's exactly what it does. So that's just my take on that. What did I miss? There was something else I was supposed to cover. Anyways, let's move on. What do we got? Oh, what did he say? What did Joe say? What does Joe ever say? Here's a short clip on Joe not making sense again.
It's frustrating. It's inconvenient. And it's bad for the environment. And there's simply no reason for it. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. This is the United States of America. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. The United States of America. This is who we are. This is not what we should be doing.
For every mystery, there is someone, somewhere, who knows the truth. Perhaps it's you.
Perhaps it's you. Do you speak Biden? I think we're all getting fluent in speaking Biden over the last couple of years. These global oligarchs. It's such a cartoon, right? We live in a cartoon. We say that all the time, every day. Yeah, oh my God, the mystery music. I know it's a mystery what he's talking about. Okay, so this is the section I was looking forward to, and we're going to talk about the royals and the new King Charles. I brought you guys quite a few clips that we got to look at, and I actually have some keyed up over on the Twitter too for you. Let's see if I can get there. Come on, work.
It's frustrating.
No. Okay, so a young man detained for yelling that Prince Andrew is a sick old man, telling officers powerful men shouldn't be able to commit sexual crimes and get away with it. The Queen in the past spent £12 million to cover up Andrew's relationship with Epstein. And yeah, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Apparently I can just scroll and my stuff goes to the next one. I'll have to try that on the next one. So I want to go to slide 3 so I can show you guys. There we go. So this is that kid. This is the same kid being, well, this is when he's in the crowd, and then we'll scroll up and see when he's actually detained, what he says.
Disgusting! Wait, I've done nothing wrong.
It's disgusting. Okay, so let's see if I can escape that, and then I want to scroll up. Okay, so here he is, and this is after they have him detained. Let me pause that, pull it down. I'm getting better at cowgirling, right? Okay, there we go. Got it. I can do this on the fly now. I feel so special. Okay, so this was him after they detained him. He's handcuffed, right? And we're hearing stories about it. There's an official proclamation that you're not allowed to say, "Not my king." God, sounds like America and not my president, right? Let's listen to what they said.
Powerful men should be allowed to commit sexual crimes and get away with it.
Heck yeah. Let him say it again.
Be allowed to commit sexual crimes and get away with it.
Absolutely. And that's what it comes down to, right? Powerful men should not be allowed to get away with it. We've seen so many. I mean, we all know not one person's been arrested that was actually on Epstein's Island, right? But so I found this clip and I want to show you guys what you think. Now, this was just something I happened to watch yesterday and I thought, what did I just see? And I don't think anybody else is reporting on this. I just caught it and I want your guys' opinion on if maybe I'm just being a drama queen and reading more into what's here, or if this is a little fucking creepy. So this is Andrew and his daughters, Eugenie and the other Cinderella's stepdaughter. I can't remember her name. Anyways, there's Eugenie and Beatrice, right? Wasn't one of Cinderella's sisters named Beatrice? Anyways, so they're out front and they're looking at all of the memorials, you know, because they pile the flowers up out front. And so they're kind of walking through and, you know, hugging each other and reading stuff and pointing stuff out, trying to look like they actually care about the peasants that are outside so upset emotionally. Can't hear it, but she had to translate it. Oh, you couldn't hear it? I wonder why. I did translate it. All he said was that powerful men shouldn't. I'll have to figure that out. Maybe it's because I moved to another screen. Anyway, so you guys watch this. Tell me what you think. I'll probably play it once or twice for you guys so you can see. This is Andrew consoling his daughter, and watch his hand. Now, this clip's only like 20 or 30 seconds long. Watch his hand as he brushes across her backside and her bottom. Now, this is her father, mind you, and she is a grown woman. So you tell me what you think. Right there, right there. Is that creepy or what? Did you see it? Did you guys see it? Did you see it? Did you see it? Okay, I'm gonna play it one more time for you guys and let you see. You tell me. Now, does his hand stay on her backside and go around her bottom as he bends down? Or am I just imagining and making shit up because I'm a conspiracy theorist? You tell me. Come on, play it. There we go. Right there. Hand on shoulder, hand sliding down back, on bottom, all the way down to under her bottom. Did you see it? Did you guys see her booty? Did you see what he did? I saw this. It was gross. Am I the only one who saw it? You guys saw it too? Why is nobody pointing this out? What? Oh my God. And then you look at her face afterwards at the end of the, you know, because like the way I cut it, you can almost see that she's thinking, oh, did my dad just goose me in public? I'll play it one more time for you. And then we'll move on. I just found this highly creepy, and I don't know why. Handy Andy, exactly. I don't know why nobody else isn't talking about this. Right there. Right there. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that is creepy as F. You know, just saying. He was hanging on for ballots. Maybe he was. Maybe he was. Maybe I just see him for the sick perv that he is. And yeah, I find it deprived. I mean, come on, you're royal. You know better than to do that kind of crap in public. But, you know, that's what these sickos, they like to get away with it and do it in public. So nobody, and to know that nobody called them out and they got away with it, right? Yeah, maybe it's just, it's his daughter. That's his own freaking daughter. Yeah, no, something in the pit of my stomach just says, no, that was wrong and that was intentional and not creepy as the other clips. Okay, well, you know, to each their own. I just find it gross and I just don't think a grown man does that to his grown daughter, but to each their own, right? What else do we got over here? Do I have... Oh, let's talk about this. So the other day, Oz and I were talking about the royals, right? And why I hate the royals. And I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a rundown. So this is my third great grandmother, Amanza Lord. And this was her brooch. In 1834, she obtained the brooch, and the brooch has moved through the family to the firstborn. So when I got it, I decided I want to do some research. Where, did she just get this brooch? Was it given to her? Trying to, date it and get a little bit of history to go with the item. So I started digging deep into ancestry, and I knew a lot of my ancestry because my grandmothers and my great aunt in the 90s had gone and done the actual foot research, right? Back in the genealogy, tracking it down, they went to Edinburgh, and they pretty much tracked down our heritage all the way into the 1500s. So I was aware, but I wasn't totally aware. And when I got on there and realized that, I knew that we had Scottish heritage. Yes, I'm a Scot, but I did not know about my 10th great grandfather, Sir Robert Dunbar. He was in the Battle of Dunbar in 1651. And this is where they were winning. They were kicking the Crown's ass, and they got flanked. Cromwell managed to flank the Scots, and they killed thousands. I mean, the reports are different. Some say it was 1,000, some say it was 5,000 of the Scots. And finally, the Scots had to, give up. They surrendered, and they were marched. The 1,000, they say there was 5,000 that started the march. And it was, I want to say, 1,000 mile, maybe a 1,200 mile march from Scotland into England. No food, no rest, no stops. Thousands died during the march on the way, and my 10th great grandfather was one of those men. He made it to England, and because apparently he had been friendly with the Crown in the past, they decided to just strip him of his lands. So they stripped him of all land titles that he had in Scotland, and they put him on a slave ship. And there's 3 ships. This was really, you can read a lot about this. There's a lot of great history YouTubes about the Battle for Dunbar and the march. And there's a pocket of us here in America that are direct descendants of these servitude slavery ships that they put these prisoners of war onto and sent to America. So my ancestor, my 10th great grandfather, was sent to America. He was sent to Boston to be a servant for Joshua Lafoot in Boston. And I want to say that he served his servitude for 3 to 5 years. I don't remember exactly. And he still had money because the Crown had not stripped him of his money when he left. So he managed to send for his wife, Rose, and she came to America and joined him. And he was the richest man in town by the end of it all. And there's a whole settlement in New England of these descendants that came from that ship. There was 3 ships anyways. So it's really, I find it so interesting to know exactly how my ancestry got to America in the 1650s. And I'm bitter. I'm bitter. Like, would I be a Scottish girl living in the UK right now had that battle in history in that time never happened? Or, you can question would I even exist, those type of things. But with Ancestry.com, here's my advice. Do not give anybody your DNA. I have not turned over my DNA to any of these 23andMe, none of those. But you can go in and do the tree research, or your genealogy through your tree. You can do that, and they have like you can get like a free week or a free month, something like that. And pretty much a lot of the research I did, I managed to squeeze into that free trial, so that way I didn't have to keep paying them. I don't know, it's like $30 or $40 a month, something like that. But you can really, the way that our because of all the DNA testing now, you really can track down a ton of information about your heritage. I find it very interesting. It kind of explains things to me, like, okay, now I get all the redheads in my family. Okay, now I get the tempers. We have the Scottish hot tempers, and Yeah, I find it so interesting. So yeah, Charles II, yeah, he sent us here. I'm a direct result of Charles II sending, this was a penal colony, much like Australia, to the Brits in the 1600s. Oh, just send them over there. We'll just send all the bad seeds over there. And so that's why I'm here. But, I can track actually us leaving the East Coast, our family moving into Missouri. And then from Missouri, they came across on the Oregon Trail. They got here to the Pacific Northwest. And my second great grandmother, actually, she was the one that came across the Oregon Trail. And then my great grandmother homesteaded a farm here in Washington State, and it's now the local camp or fairgrounds. They turned it into the fairgrounds, and they have some of the old historic buildings out there. So it's kind of cool to go to the fair, and I get to see some of my family's historic outbuildings still on the property in Kitsap County. There's the family rumors that the family silver is still buried out there, that type of stuff. But I just find this really interesting. So when people say to me, "Oh, you're not allowed to hate the king," yeah, I am, and my family's been hating him for a long time. So I just thought I'd explain that. I had a lot of you guys asking, like, "Oh, I thought you were Irish." Like, nope, I'm a Scot. I'm a German on one side and Scot on the other. So it's really fun. Yeah, wow, the Oregon Trail. I know, how cool is that, right? And you can look. So this is, I want to say this picture was taken 1860s, 70s, somewhere in there. I can't believe how much she looks like my cousins. Like, I have cousins that look exactly like that. I don't see myself so much in it. This is Amanza Lord. I don't see myself in her, but I see a lot of my family members in her. I just find this stuff interesting. I love history. You guys know I love history. So anytime I can dig into history, I do. But thanks for listening. And yeah, my brooch someday, that's Diana, the huntress. And of course, she's killing a deer on there. And that brooch will go to my oldest daughter, and then it'll go to my oldest granddaughter. And we'll just keep it moving. And every generation puts an X on the back of the brooch. Right now, there's 7 X's on it. And then when our 3 X's get added, there'll be 10. So really cool to have that connection with my heritage and my past. Oh, did you guys see these? Yeah. Do you remember, I've done all the Epstein specials. Remember, Epstein had a picture of Georgie with the Jenga towers, and never forget the Clinton in the blue dress with the red shoes. And then when you graduate from Epstein Island, you know what all those people have in common? I think most of them are Rhodes Scholars, aren't they? Probably not Oprah, but yeah. How'd you guys like that Tom Hanks thing I gave you guys the other day? Did you watch it about him being a military industrial kiss ass? Yeah, right. That was a really good breakdown of every movie and the government agency that he worked hand in hand with. Yeah, it really puts into perspective what he does and who he works for when you watch that breakdown. Let's see how you hanging out in the chat there. I would love to do ancestry DNA tests with both my husband and myself, but I'm not sure I want our DNA just out there in a third-party scrutiny. Now, here's the thing about that, Kate. I agree. I absolutely agree. At first I wanted to, like, oh my God, I want to know everything I have inside me, and then I started thinking about the security of it, like, oh, I'm giving my DNA to be cloned to, these companies. So I never did it. But having children back in the 90s, I had a DNA test on my oldest child, not because I didn't know anything, but because the state demanded it because they paid for the delivery. And so I know that my DNA technically is on record somewhere in the government system. I think if they want your DNA, they'll get it, right? Is what it comes down to. We all watch these crime detective shows where they follow somebody around and pick up a pop can, or, wait for them to throw out a Kleenex. But why give it to them, right? Why give it to them for free is kind of my mentality. So yeah, just stick to the genealogy with name. Don't give them your DNA. Oh, Hillary, who remembers? We're going to do a flashback memory. So who remembers when Hillary's campaign bus dumped a bunch of feces all over? They didn't care. We remember. Let's watch.
police are investigating a bizarre claim. Lawrenceville police tell us they believe a Hillary Clinton campaign bus may have illegally dumped human waste in between campaign stops today. The hazmat team had to respond to this, yes?
Yes, they did, and so you can imagine the commotion. Police tell me that when they showed up here to the 500 block of Grayson Highway, it was all covered in toilet paper, and there was a foul smell. There was a foul smell everywhere, and it was all caught on tape. Take a look at pictures we obtained of this bus. We got them from an eyewitness. A businessman nearby said he saw the bus illegally dumping sewage into a storm drain. There are concerns at this point that whatever was dumped may have gotten or reached several bodies of water in the area.
I know where she went. It's disgusting. I don't want to talk about it.
I think I'm going to start doing a segment called Remember When, and we'll just go back and look at some of the terrible things that happened in 2016 and beyond, right? Human waste. Yes, that was Hillary Clinton's campaign. I don't remember when that happened. Like, us Bernie delegates were just screaming about it, and she just blew it off, and they acted like, oh, that's not true. That's what they blamed it on Trump, and they said that it was a propaganda smear against her. But obviously, you could see her bus dumping sewer. So, yeah. Do you remember when? The trailer park remembers when. Right? Human waste. Yeah, toilet paper on the road. And I love how they did it over a storm drain, right? So that tells you that the intention, they planned on doing it. It's not like, ooh, somebody just let it loose and it hit the street. No, they actually went and parked over a storm drain to do it. But, you know, running for president was not the hardest thing she ever had to do. Being married to Bill was. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah, I can scroll over that, right? Oh, did you guys hear? Did you hear? 9/11 and January 6th are comparable, apparently, because, and I didn't bring this. Julie, thank you. Julie reached out to me yesterday and said, you know, Kamala was on Meet the Press with old Chucky Todd, and they were talking about how, 9/11 and January 6th are the same, attacks on our country. And so I brought this little clip. If you want to go watch the Harris one, I could not find anything that I'm not very articulate, right? But she absolutely cannot even make a comprehensive sentence come together. I don't care what she's on. So I didn't bring you a clip, but I brought you this. So let's watch this.
I will always remember how angry and sad I felt the day our country was attacked. The lives lost and the families impacted demand we continue to hold those who attack our democracy accountable. This is true for the 11th of September 2001 just as it is for the 6th of January 2021.
They deserve to be ratioed. Yeah, we are the power, right? Can you imagine? How are those things even comparable? I mean, it just makes them look so terrible, so stupid, so it delegitimizes the actual devastation that was caused during 9/11. I mean, look at how many families, dad didn't come home, mom didn't come home. It's not even fucking comparable. It's not even comparable. Stop it. Stop it. It's not. And just because you guys want to get elected, you keep saying this stupid shit because of TDSD and, we got a virtue signal to people. And yeah, it's disgusting. Uh-oh. Jilly, what's going on? She just sent me a Twitter from Ukraine. Here's a thought on Ukraine. I didn't bring anything on this, but I think that Russia's going to flank the shit out of the Ukrainian soldiers that are pushing back, right? Because this is a tactic that they use all the fucking time. Like, they use it on the streets with us. When we're out protesting, the cops will start to pull back and we'll push forward thinking that we're taking ground. Like, oh, look, we're taking ground. And then they flank us from the sides. And I'm just telling you, it's my conspiracy. I think that Russia's going to flank them. Let me see. Are you sure you want to leave YouTube? Well, no. That was weird. I click it, Jilly, and it asked me if I want to leave YouTube. So I will look at it after the show, but thank you. There's a link in the chat if you guys want to check it out. Oh, come on, work. I was hoping I could scroll through this. Come on. Okay. So Justice Department has seized the phones of 2 Trump aides and issued 40 subpoenas seeking information related to the 2020 election and January 6th, because January 6th is never going to go away, guys. This is the New York Times. I brought you a quick report about this on Saturday night. I think that this is a scare tactic. I think what they're trying to do is deter anybody from supporting, helping Trump. And I think it's going to have the opposite effect. But this just shows you how desperate the Democrats are and how much of a threat they feel Trump really is. So we're seeing a lot going on with the documents that came out of Mar-a-Lago, right? There is a special, well, what do they call it? I can't remember. But there's somebody looking over those, and then they'll decide what they're going to release. So we still haven't heard what the fuck they took from Mar-a-Lago and what sensitive classified materials Trump supposedly had at his house, right? We're being told on Trump's side that it was just regular. Know that this is just a ploy as we come into the midterms and beyond. Because, yeah, they know what they've done to us over the last 2 years, right? They know about the lockdowns, and they know about, the economy, and they know that Americans, everyday Americans, they're not buying this shit. And I think they're scared, right? But they think they're going to hold the Senate. We shall see. What else do I got lined up for you guys? Oh, some Fauci. Did you guys see this? Fauci, he says that the lockdowns did no damage at all to anybody. So let's hear it.
We wanted to cause a pause to remember the terminology, to flatten the curve.
But in retrospect, Doctor, do you regret that it went too far? Whatever your original intentions were, and it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback here, but that it went too far, that particularly for kids who couldn't go to school except remotely, that it's forever damaged them.
Well, I don't think it's forever irreparably damaged anyone, but I think...
Wow. Yeah, so the fraudster Fauci, he's out there saying it did no damage to lock people down, and children's development really depends on interaction with people, right? I mean, we know that. To say it did no damage, that's just in babies. We're seeing it in school-age kids too. There's multiple reports out there of the damage lockdowns did. And do we have more coming? There's a lot of whispering and rumblings about what's going to come this winter. And the Dems knew it was effective. I think they'll try to pull it out of their arsenal again. I hope not, but Fauci's not going away, guys. He's retiring in December, but he's just going to go into the private sector where he's already been his whole entire life. So Fauci's gone, but not out. I don't know what this next one is. Oh, this is from Jilly. So this is a ad that dropped at the beginning of the year. I want to say it was January. And this is a British Heart Foundation, so I might take a copyright strike for this just because you're not allowed to talk about the Brits. But, with all of the cases of myocarditis that we're seeing and heart problems we're seeing, it's a good thing that they are making strides on an artificial heart. So let's watch this.
I'm in. Okay, no, you can have a great first date, I promise.
He been eating his crevice all over your face, all over your face, all over your face.
He was a scientific hypothesis. She was a clinical study. He was a groundbreaking innovation.
Live a life of abuse.
And the future breakthrough that could cure her is closer than ever. With our research, we can keep saving lives like hers. Donate now to turn science fiction into reality.
Okay, so donate now, right? They want your money to do the research on this, but we know, if you've been paying attention, how much money Big Pharma actually puts into research. No, the private sector never pays for research. The public sector always finances that. And is it a coincidence that they're rolling out this stuff when they know the damage that came from? I got to be careful. I'm on YouTube, so I don't want to get stuck with medical misinformation. But we find it very suspicious that they want your money because this is science, right? Yeah, that was it was creepy, right? To have a kid just drop, like, oh my God, like, are they trying to scare people into giving them money? I really think that's what that was really about. So thank you, Jilly, always keeping me informed and enlightened and horrified at the same time. Such a sweetheart. Let's see. I think we're at the end of the show, but I do have one more, if I can get there. I have one more clip for you. And I actually didn't cut a clip from this, but I am going to drop it in the chat for you guys, for you to watch later. So this is a, not really a follow-up from the Amanda Rabb story that I did 2 weeks ago. This is another YouTuber actually covering the same story. It's Patrick Cece, and he does a great job of deep dives. And I'm glad to see others finally starting to talk about, what happened to Amanda Rabb and why nobody is asking questions, and who is this woman, Lima, who had so much control over her and now may have control over some other stars that we talked about last week. So I'm going to drop that in the chat for you guys to watch later. Anytime I come across a story that I'm talking about, not a lot of other people are talking about, I want to bring it to you guys so you get as much info as you can, so you can form your own opinion instead of just taking it from me. Because, right, that's what we're supposed to be doing, thinking for ourselves and researching and finding information.
Live a life of abuse.
Yeah, I don't think that was cut. Hands off Assange. Let's talk about it. So poor Amber and I were up late last night trying to figure it out. We are going to do a 36-hour endurance run from Seattle to DC, from DC and back. So basically, we're going to leave here late Friday night, fly into DC, land first thing in the morning in DC, hit the streets, get out there for Hands Off of Assange. And the people who have confirmed are amazing. I can't wait to be out there talking to some of these, John Kiriakou and Chris Hedges and Susan Sarandon and Jill Stein. And you can go to Comrade Misty Putin, or you can go to the Assange pages to find all this on Twitter. And the way we're doing it is very stressful because of short notice, and it's the same time as the Women's March. So that makes availability in DC a freaking nightmare right now. Trying to get flights, trying to find hotel, trying to get all of that locked down. And it's running us a heck of a lot more than it did the last time. You know, we flew in 2 years ago to an Assange rally, and we had a little bit more time to plan ahead and get our stuff booked. And yeah, we're taking some major penalties for waiting this long. So if you could help out, there's a GoFundMe link in the description below, or you can hit my PayPal right here. That's probably the quickest way. Or I think Amber's got a Roar Media link up over on Twitter. We appreciate your help. We can't wait to get on the ground and bring you guys interviews, live feeds. We're going to try to feed into Oz as much as we can on Saturday the 8th, so that way you guys will be on the ground with us. And I don't think that we will be doing a Beauty and the Boomer that night. I know, guys, it sucks. But you're going to be getting all kinds of amazing, you know, interactions with us in DC with so many of these amazing people. So we appreciate your support. I was like, oh my God, I'm too old. I'm like, I'm almost 50 years old. I can't get on a plane, fly for 6 hours, go march for 10 hours, sleep, and then get back on a plane and fly back for 6 hours. And I thought, you know what? Julian Assange is sitting in a fucking prison cell in Belmarsh, dying because he told us the truth. I can get my privileged ass up, get on a fucking plane, and be tired for 2 goddamn days to support this man. So that's what I'm going to do. And we'll be out there with your guys' message too. If you guys have a message you want us to read, speak, we got all kinds of different ways that you guys can get your support out there for Assange, even if you can't make it to any of the rallies. So we appreciate you guys more than we can say. And I'm looking forward to this great race that Amber and I are going to do. So it should be something to watch. Definitely. See how tired I am, right? I'll definitely be going back on caffeine for this trip. I got to tell you, that's going to happen. I already see it. Let's see. What else do I got? Did anyone else freeze? Hey, Lazy Quackhole. Nope. Shandy even gives us homework. Yeah, Kate, I give you guys homework. I don't give you homework. I just give you stuff that I think that would be, you know, like, oh, this was interesting, so I want you guys to watch it too. Because I can only play you little clips, right? I mean, we can't do a full show watching some of this stuff together. So one of these days, I might just do a freestyle where I just go down the rabbit hole and take you guys with me now that I have all these multiple screens, and you can see how I do my research. Okay, well, I think that is the end of today's show. I appreciate you guys joining me. I appreciate you supporting all of our brothers and sisters out there. You know who they are: Savvy Sabs, Combo Couch, you know, Franca Analysis. There's just so many that I've got it right that we support, and I know I see all you guys out there. Hardlands Media, they're doing a great job. Please make sure you're checking out their streams throughout the day. You can catch Oz and I for Beauty and the Boomer on Saturday night on Roar Media. You can always catch Amber for Brave New Future on Fridays over on the Roar Media on the Rockfin. If you haven't followed our Rockfin, make sure you go to ROKFIN and follow us on Rockfin. There's a lot of great content over on the Rockfin. If you're not there yet, you definitely need to be there, because all the things that used to get said on YouTube are now being said over there. So that's where we hang out. And I want you guys to have a great week. It feels like a Monday, but it's not. It's a Tuesday. And I will be back on Thursday. And I just love this song, and I'm not taking copyright strikes for it, even though it's the original artist, because I love the Violent Femmes. So I'm just going to keep closing with it. You know why? Because America is the home of the hypocrite, and we know it. So I will see you guys later, and thanks for joining me.
America is, America is, America is, America is, America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. American dreams are full of it.
check out the figures, then you check out the facts. Check out some facts. Check out the facts, not the lies, and you'll find out it's a big surprise. Right between the eyes that America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. America dreams only a dream. No desperation limit, no desperation level. Even though my nose don't work, I smell trouble. I smell trouble. No desperation limit, no desperation level. Murder, murder in the government. Say you're sorry, say you're sorry. No desperation limit, no desperation level. Turn the key, turn the lock. Nationalism, you can suck mine. No desperation limit, no desperation level. Watch how the world's progressing everywhere. Aggression, 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 aggression.